Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and yes, at the ripe old age of 25 years old, aka a quarter of a century, we are in fact talking about my retirement. Let's just get into it. For those of you that don't know the history of this channel, I basically worked at a dealership for 3 years. I started at the beginning of 2017, and at the end of 2017, I decided to start making YouTube videos reviewing cars at the dealership that I worked at. Now, I made a few videos and then quit for an entire year, so throughout 2018, I didn't really post any videos on the channel. Well, I shouldn't say any, but I didn't post that many. And then in 2019, which was my last year at the car dealership, I committed to making a review every single day, no matter what, starting in February. And by the end of that year, I was actually making more money off of posting YouTube car reviews than what I was making at my sales job. And so at the end of that year, I decided to go full-time into YouTube. And so I've been full-time with YouTube since the end of 2019, which is kind of crazy because like most of these YouTube career things, whatever you want to call them, it seems like they only last for a few months, maybe a year max. Not for the amount of time that I have been doing this. I mean, we're almost 4 years full-time on the platform. Now, things have changed quite a bit over the course of the last almost 4 years that I've been doing this full-time. I mean, when I first started, I was not only still living in my mom's basement, but I was only posting about 1 video per day. Now, fast forward to today, and I post on average 3 reviews per day on the main channel, and then the second channel that a lot of people don't know about, but is just something that I do for fun. I'll post like a video, you know, every few days at this point. Sometimes I'll post a video every day. It just depends on what is happening. And so that in itself is a huge change. Another big change is just, you know, how I review the cars. I've made some slight tweaks over the last 4 years. And, you know, if you look at stuff like the titles that I use, the thumbnails, like there's obviously changes with that as well. But I think the biggest change, and the change that I want to talk about most in today's video, is the buying of cars on the channel. Now, when I first went full-time, I bought and sold cars all the time for the channel. Like, I'd pretty much have a new car every 3 to 6 months, and you've probably noticed that that has slowed down quite substantially. I kind of peaked out probably sometime last year when I had like 5 cars at once. I'm down to 3 cars, which is absolutely crazy. I'll talk about the cars that I have right now a little bit later in the video, but that is the first part of my quote-unquote retirement for the channel. I have decided that I just don't want to be a car influencer. And so what I really mean by this is I just want to focus more so on reviewing cars with the channel rather than purchasing cars for myself to do videos on. And don't get me wrong, I do see the benefit in purchasing cars and doing content with it. I know that all of you have loved the video series that I've done over the years, like with the Ram TRX and the Ford Raptor. That's the series that people seem to like the most because I absolutely just beat the crap out of both of those pickup trucks. But I mean, I did it in the name of YouTube science, whatever you want to call it. But if I'm being honest, it just doesn't really interest me as much as it did in the past. And on top of that, it really doesn't make sense from a business perspective. Unless I'm able to make money on selling the vehicle itself after I'm done with it, the content that's produced makes so little money compared to the reviews that I film that it's just not financially feasible. The only reason why I did it for as long as I did it is because I truly enjoyed, you know, going out and buying cars every 3 to 6 months and then just absolutely beating the crap out of them and then, you know, kind of rinse and repeat. And so what this looks like for all of you is that I am basically going to be keeping cars for a lot longer. So I'm going to be a lot more careful with what I purchase. You know, resale value is going to be even more important now, more than it ever has been. And also, you know, I'm going to have to really like the cars because instead of only living with them for 6 to maybe 12 months max, I'm going to be living with these cars for several years, maybe half a decade to a decade. Again, it just depends on the vehicle and the use for the vehicle. And I think that some of you might really appreciate, I guess, the longer term ownership with some of these vehicles because instead of, you know, me talking about what it's like to own a vehicle for a year, I'll be talking about what it's like to own some of these vehicles, again, for maybe 5 to 10 years. And so now this leads us into my posting schedule. So I've been posting about 3 videos per day for like the last 2 years. And no, I'm not burnt out. Even though I have to work 70 to 90 plus hours per week, every single week to be able to post that amount of videos, I don't feel burnt out at all. Again, I'm 25 years old. I'm sure if I was doing this at 45 or 55, then yeah, it would feel a lot different. But at 25 years old, I can handle the workload. The reason why I want to pull back is actually twofold. The first reason is because I want to focus more on short form content. Short form content, I know, annoys a lot of people, but I really do think it's the future. It doesn't pay a lot right now, but when I first started YouTube, it didn't pay a lot, and now it does pay a lot. And so I think that there's going to be a similar transition with short form content where it doesn't pay a lot now, but it will pay a lot in the future. And then the other part of it is I also want to be able to focus on more stuff outside of YouTube. Again, I've been working for 70 to 90 plus hours every single week for probably, I mean, at this point, like 6 to 7 years. And prior to the last 6 to 7 years where I've been working for like 70 plus hours every single week, I did still work. I started working when I was 15 years old. I would have worked at a younger age, but Utah has labor laws where you can't work below the age of 15, which I think is super lame. I guess if there's like a family business, you can work at a younger age, but regardless, over the last 10 years, I have been working as much as I possibly can, and I've been pretty smart with my money. I have made some dumb purchases over the years, but nothing that financially wrecked me. And on top of that, I have done a lot of investing over the last 10 years. And so I not only have a lot of money invested, I just have a lot of money saved up and put into different assets that either hold their value really well or have continued to go up in value. And so, you know, at 25 years old, I'm at a pretty good place financially. Like, for example, right now, if I didn't want to work for like the next 10, 20 years, I would be able to do that with everything that I currently have saved up. And so outside of making short form content for the channel, I also want to spend time doing things that doesn't necessarily make money, because again, I'm finally in a position where I can spend more time doing things that don't make money because I have a lot of things, you know, running in my favor, so to speak, at this point. One of those is chickens, for example, which hopefully the camera will pick them up. Yes, we have 12 of them at this point. None of them are laying eggs quite yet, but yeah, we're kind of starting like a little mini farm thing here. And let me tell you, I don't know if it's just because I'm young, but like doing manual labor is so much fun. Around the house, I've cut down a bunch of trees and removed a bunch of stuff that is either dead or diseased that we need to get rid of to kind of like fix up the yard. And as I've been doing that, I found that I really, really enjoy it. And so now we're looking at kind of expanding what we have here. And so what this practically looks like is currently our house sits on about half an acre. We do have another parcel that's like 0.4 acres roughly, which is a decent amount of land, but it's not enough to do what we want to do with it. And so we are searching for a much larger parcel of land to basically start building out a little mini farm, I guess is what you could call it. Now, we obviously haven't found land quite yet, and I don't know exactly what this looks like once we do find land, but what I do know is it's gonna take a lot of time and a lot of effort, and I'm gonna have to take that time and effort from something, and ultimately it is gonna be coming from the YouTube channel to an extent. And so here's kind of like the plan that I have laid out once we do find land and can start, you know, building on this land, building our kind of like little mini farm, all of that stuff, is I'm going to still be going to dealerships Monday through Friday and filming as many cars as I possibly can. And that's what I've actually been doing for the last month. And I've still been able to post the same amount of content that I have been able to post for the last couple of years. The only thing that will potentially change is some days I might not have any videos to post, and some days I might only have like 1 or 2 videos to post instead of 3 videos. So it's not like I'm going to be working any less. It's just that I'm not going to be in the like frantic hurry that I have been over the last couple of years when I don't have any videos to post and I need to get my 3rd video of the day posted. That's really the biggest change that's going to happen to the channel, and I think a lot of you will like it because instead of just posting content to post content, I'm only going to post content if I have solid reviews that are filmed for you guys. So in summary, I am no longer going to be a car influencer in the sense of someone who buys cars every like 3 to 6 months. What we have right now is the Defender, which is currently leaving because the wife is leaving. We've got the GT350 that's green, and then we have the pink Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392. Now, I do have 2 more cars currently on order. I won't say exactly what they are, but they're both very practical cars that'll help out with what we're doing, especially since most of the places we're looking at are literally in the middle of nowhere, so like you need tons of off-road capability, all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't have any other cars planned past those 2 cars coming in. Like once those 2 cars come in, like that is it. There is nothing else planned for the foreseeable future. And then on top of that, like I said earlier, I'm going to be pulling back on the channel. And so, you know, most days will look like what they've looked like for the last 2 years, where you guys will see 3 reviews, but sometimes you might only see 2 reviews, sometimes you might see 1 review, and some days there might not be any reviews to be posted. And so, yeah, I just think that that'll be a much better quote-unquote work-life balance. It's not like I'm going to be working any less. It's just that I'll be working more on stuff that doesn't necessarily make money, and hopefully it all works out. I'll see ya.